Yeah, you get 3 streams today. Aren't y'all special? So, every once in a while, since I've started doing the atheist YouTuber thing, I just decide, well, YouTube is the premier video upload site on the planet. Should be reasonable if there's proof for God that I should just be able to do a quick search for it and find it. So, I do that search from time to time and skim through the videos. Usually they're just a bunch of shorts or some like 2 hour long, essay debate thing that I just don't have time to watch. I know there's an irony that my videos are an hour to 2 hours long usually, but it's the nature of a reaction live stream. Um, I want something in that sweet spot, 10, 20 minutes, something to that effect. And I found a video earlier that I'm debating on covering. I probably will, but I have to address it very carefully, since it's a very, very new channel, new creator, and I don't want to be a dick. So I looked a little further. This was an upload 12 hours ago. I was like, I'm not going to jump on this guy right here, right now. I'm not going to be that guy. What I will do, though, is that one at a slightly later date, like maybe in a couple of days. Um, Especially since I want to be more in the zone for it. But I did find one that may be worth looking at, if only for the fact that I kind of already know its conclusion from the offset, and it kind of demonstrates there's nothing new under the sun when it comes to theological arguments, or what one could call them. So we're going to look at Proof God Exists Explained in 12 Minutes by 8-Bit Infographics. Tiny little channel is what it is. Yeah, let's just get right to it. And just from the first frame, you can probably already tell what this argument's going to be because it was spoiled by somebody in the comments. But let's hear what the AI voice has to say. Yeah, it's one of those.
Imagine waking up in a room you've never seen before. The temperature is perfect. Your favorite song is playing in the background. A stack of fluffy pancakes sits on the table, drenched in just the right amount of syrup. Exactly how you like it. No one's around, but everything feels tailored. You'd probably think, someone must have prepared this for me. It's too perfect to be random. That's exactly how many scientists and thinkers feel when they look at our universe.
No, it's not. Scientists, no. Thinkers, in quotes, yeah. Yeah, this is just going to be fine-tuning argument all over again. So honestly, were this like a stream where I was just going through looking for stuff, I'd have clicked off this one by now. The room analogy completely breaks down in the fact that every single aspect of that is an artificial construct. Nothing about it is natural. One can argue that the syrup on the pancakes would be, but that's still going to involve some processing for humans to turn it into actual syrup as opposed to the natural saps and such that it is. Everything in that analogy is artificial. The climate's controlled. It's a building. It's not, piece of a serene field or anything. Um, Pancakes have to be cooked. The music playing, that's something people make. Completely falls apart because the universe is not artificial. Fundamentally, as I constantly stress, the moment you try to claim that the universe is otherwise the equivalent of something that's manufactured, something artificial, you destroy the entire concept of nature, of there being anything natural to juxtapose from the artificial creation, and the entire analogy tears itself apart at that point. Now, someone like Ken Hovind would say, "Oh, now you finally get it," and it's like, no. It shows how ridiculous the idea is because, again, there is no nature. So the moment you go and appeal to nature, we have a problem. You're appealing to something that doesn't exist, according to your methodology. Let's continue.
Everything is so precisely calibrated, so perfectly aligned, that it doesn't seem accidental. Welcome to the incredible world of fine-tuning, DNA, morality, and more. The powerful clues that lead many to believe in a creator. Let's
Yeah, many idiots. I'm sorry, but the fine tuning argument fucking sucks.
dive into the arguments that make people all over the world say, maybe this really isn't all an accident. Let's begin with the fine-tuning of the universe. Our universe runs on
No one thinks of everything as an accident. Let's get that clear. It might be funny to refer to things that way, but it's not an accident. All right, word's a little loaded.
a set of highly specific physical laws. Think of them
Laws are descriptive, not prescriptive. They describe how the universe actually works.
as the unbreakable rules in the ultimate game of cosmic chess.
No, how about you think of them as us using a set of words to define what we observe as a fundamental property of the universe, because that's what it actually is. Stop trying to make things not what they are.
Balance
I mean, if your God was so obvious, you wouldn't have to lie like this constantly to try to support the idea. So you're already fighting an uphill battle with anyone who's got 2 brain cells.
is so precise that even a microscopic tweak would destroy the possibility of life.
Yeah, life is an emergent property of the universe as it is. There is no reason not to think that something that could be called life by whatever would emerge from a universe with slightly different variables would not also emerge if self-replicating chemistry of a certain nature could happen in that kind of universe. That really is the key thing, and all that's necessary is a certain type of self-replicating chemistry. That's where the magic happens.
If gravity were slightly stronger, everything would collapse into a dense mess. If it were weaker, galaxies wouldn't form. The universe would simply fall apart, and you wouldn't be here to enjoy pancakes or complain about Mondays.
Yes, which means that from our perspective, the universe has to be this way, or we wouldn't know. It couldn't be any other way because we exist. Got tine, Junie, fat, clar hooing. The fuck is this calendar? Tau? 3rd, 23rd? No. Holy fuck. They're literally using AI to make pixel art. I'm not going to call it 8-bit because this isn't 8-bit. There's too many colors for one. To make fucking resolutions too high. To make pixel art retro ass images that I'll admit look very nice. But they couldn't have gotten an actual artist to do this. Because of course they couldn't. I forgot what I was going to get at now, what I was saying. I've totally forgotten. I've totally lost my train of thought. I'm going to have to jump back a hair.
The universe would simply fall apart, and you wouldn't be here to enjoy pancakes or complain about Mondays.
Oh, yes, the fact that, we are an emergent property of the universe. Ergo, whatever universe life was to exist in, whatever the properties were that life was to come about in, those would be the properties it would exist for. It's not hard to understand. The sample size is 1.
There are more than 30 constants in physics that must be perfectly aligned for the universe to function.
According to whom? And properly function exactly as it does? It could function any other way if those constants were changed. We might not be around for the ride, but our existence is pretty irrelevant to the fucking universe.
The odds of this happening randomly are 1 in 10 to the 60th power.
Numbers you pull out of your ass that mean absolutely nothing. We are an emergent property of the universe. Therefore, the odds are 1 out of 1 because we exist. Quit lying.
That's like flipping a coin and landing on heads 60 times in a row. Some suggest maybe we live in just one of millions of universes and got lucky. That's like waking up in a flawless hotel room and assuming there are a million others, but only
You wouldn't wake up in another universe. You're an emergent property of that. Everyone's thinking of this stuff ass backwards. Good God, the more you stare at this, the worse it gets. 2037 AV? Heller Day, Helox, Kenneth Schutz. Man, they could have tried.
yours has the perfect playlist and breakfast. Sure, it's possible, but it also sounds like someone is trying very hard not to admit the hotel was prepared ahead of time. Now let's talk about the origin of life. All life is
Oh, okay. We're going here now? Man, I underestimated this video. I debated doing this. This is gold. And by that, I mean it's total shit. Also, just gonna say it. That is totally cock and balls right there. Left nut, phallus, right nut. That's the holy penis, don't you know? 15 kilometers long. Can't say scoot over, honey. Holy shit, this one got me wired real quick. Great. We're gonna have a good time.
as we know it, hinges on something unimaginably small yet profoundly complex. DNA. This molecule isn't just a random arrangement of chemicals. It's an incredibly detailed instruction manual that
No, it's a bunch of chemicals. They have 177 subscribers, and this has 198 views. Yep, I pity reality as well from this.
constructs your
Also, yeah, that totally doesn't look like something.
body, brain, and even your personality.
Even our personality, you say. It's almost as if everything that makes us us is fundamentally chemical in nature.
Imagine the most complicated IKEA furniture manual you've ever seen. Now multiply that by 1,000,000,000, and you'll still fall short of DNA's complexity.
It's not really that complex. It's just a long ass sequence of 4 characters when simplified into data. It's a long ass sequence of 4 nucleotides. And those through a process that is pretty damn wild. Hey, look, there's a face in the upper right. Deet, deet. There's the mouth. um, through processes that are, yeah, admittedly complicated, but still very natural and exemplative of being emergently complex. Simple things becoming more complex through repetition, through processes that, yeah, they code for various proteins. That's what these chemicals do because that's what chemicals do. You end up getting enough stuff together and it forms a particular protein. Hey, cool. Oh, what if that protein and what that compound is designed to replicate more of itself? Hey, not the proteins do that, but you know where I'm going. Again, this all boils down to simple chemical reactions. A whole lot of them. That's it. There's nothing super complicated about it other than rationalizing it at like a total scale. Just like every computer. At any given cycle, it's basically flipping a bit on and off. It just does it a hell of a lot and gets everything we got. Exact same thing. Oh, but Chris, the computer is designed. That's irrelevant. It's the principle that's going on. The chemistry is the same kind of thing. Simple actions, as simple as, organic chemistry can be and the like, but otherwise simple reactions, amassing, behaving a particular way. Emergent complexity, all there is. I feel like that's going to be my epitaph. Emergent complexity.
Here's where it gets even more interesting. DNA carries specific information, and information doesn't simply materialize from chaos.
Hold up. I gotta translate that shit. That's gonna get translated right fucking now. Google Translate, go. Camera, go. Come on, translate that shit. All right. Good. The Great Moon Hour. Yeah, I could tell that. Prayer Pillow for the third thing. 124 is 124. Going up from the 124, Drag in the Change, Wine Water, 5 Criminals Are the Early Morning, and Brother Wither. Okay, there's your Japanese lesson for today. Prayer Pillow. That is the kanji though for month and moon, Because, of course, they use the same character for month and moon since the month is based on the moon. And that's something I love about a lot of cultures, actually. We're not here to talk about Japanese, though. Not that I know the language worth a damn. Ironic for a guy who has a weeb ass name like Yamato, but let's continue.
Books, computer programs, and languages all come from intelligent sources. So where did the first DNA come from? If you opened
It's chemicals. All of this is chemicals. It's not information. You can think of it like information, but it's not information. It's just chemicals doing what chemicals do. I don't know why this is so hard for these people to understand.
a blank Word document and a complete novel appeared without explanation, you wouldn't assume it was written by monkeys typing at random. Real information, especially on the level of DNA, demands an intelligent author.
Hold up, hold up. First off, that monkey's got derp eyes. That one smoked a blunt.
Real information, especially on
But,
the level of DNA,
okay, I'm sure there's something anti-Semitic in here, but look, it's a fucking Death Star. We got a Death Star, Death Star, Death Star, Death Star. Hey, that makes a perfect segue for the fact that I finished Andor. Holy fuck. That was all kind of incredible. Ending made me feel. It all made sense at the end, all the loose ends tied up. Leading in the Rogue One makes Rogue One even more tragic. So yeah, there's my recommendation. Definitely hit up Andor season 2. It's a slow burn like this first season was, but one, it's all out at this point, and two, they originally released it in 3-episode batches, 3, 6, 9, 12, and so that made it a little more digestible.
DNA demands an intelligent author. That's why the idea of life forming by pure chance poses such a challenge. Scientists
No, it doesn't, because your initial concept is flawed.
have calculated the odds of a simple life form assembling randomly to be 1 in 10 to the 40,000th power.
But one, we're not dealing with things forming randomly. This isn't just random stuff being thrown together and it just magically sticks. This is chemistry. Two, I don't give a goddamn fuck what anyone calculated. It obviously happened, and any proposition of any other idea is silly. It's not how percentages and probabilities or any of that shit works.
That's a 1 followed by 40,000 zeros. At that point, even winning the lottery every day for the rest of your life would look easy. Next up, irreducible complexity.
Oh, for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake. Couldn't you come up with anything better? Fuck. So you had to bring out the old Irish/Scottish man. I never figured out which accent that is. Kind of a blend. Had to bring him out. We don't have to bring him out. Aye.
Picture a Jenga tower. If you remove just one critical block, the entire thing crumbles. That's exactly
I wish Otaku X was here so he could hear me say the line, "Son, you need to do some serious boning."
how some systems in biology work. Take the human eye, the blood clotting system, or the bacterial flagellum, a microscopic motor that helps
Oh, fuck you and fuck the bacterial flagellum.
bacteria swim. These aren't just complicated systems, they are irreducibly complex,
Except they're not.
meaning they only function if all their parts are present and working together.
Function exactly as they do in that form. Parts removed, uh-oh, other functions can be found. It's really not that complicated. You know what's really funny is the number of engineers who fall into this kind of creationist crap. And it's like, you're a fucking engineer. You literally figure out alternative uses for everything. And yet you look at organic stuff and it's like, nope, can't have any other functions, can't be changed. The fuck? Are you really an engineer if you're not immediately thinking about every single alternative use for everything ever? Or maybe I'm just crazy like that. I don't know.
Remove one component,
Last I checked, though, Buzz Aldrin used a goddamn pin cap to toggle the ascent stage switch on the fucking lunar module in Apollo 11 and get them back into lunar orbit to dock with the command module. So, last I checked, a pin cap wasn't a switch for a goddamn rocket engine, but it fucking worked. So, again, not all engineers are fucking morons. Even though he's kind of lost his mind at this stage. I do find it cool that he smuggled a communion set to the moon, though, and took communion on the moon. That's fucking awesome. Just gonna say that.
and the system doesn't work at all. The bacterial flagellum has a rotor, stator, drive shaft, propeller, and even a clutch. That's right. A bacterium and your car share a surprising mechanical similarity.
No, they don't. And what the goddamn hell is that? A rejected Toe Jam and Earl character? It's Queef. It's a rejected character from Toe Jam and Earl 3. Panic in New Jersey.
But if even one part is missing, the flagellum doesn't simply perform poorly. It doesn't perform at all. So how does evolution explain this?
Yeah, well, to be fair, S'mores, is not every proof of God video just a compilation of bad Christian arguments? And realistically, these could be used for a Muslim or a Jew as well.
Evolution operates step by step, but irreducibly complex systems can't evolve piece by piece.
Wow, you couldn't even get a second take on that? Piece by piece. Suddenly your AI is sponsored by William Shatner. Yeah, they can, because you idiots are too stupid to comprehend that nothing is irreducibly complex. Fundamentally, everything is reducible. You can take anything and break it down into basic atoms and molecules. Uh-oh, I just reduced it. Wow, there goes your fucking argument, dumbass.
A steering wheel alone is useless without the rest of the car. You can't build a functional motorbike by slowly adding random parts and hoping it magically works one day.
No, because you're trying to build a particular thing with particular parts, particular goals. So you would use components that would work towards that. Because these are artificial constructs. Everything in nature, everything in life is emergent, tested against its usefulness in nature. Natural selection, working on mutations carried in isolated populations. This isn't hard. And longtime viewers will notice I'm getting more and more refined in the way I describe these things, which I hate that it's taking hundreds of videos to do this. But arguing with these things, thinking through this, and you hear me think through it out loud, you're watching me refine my arguments in much the same way Aaron, Matt Dillahunty, I just don't even have to say Aaron Raw, Matt Dillahunty, Forrest Valkai, Gutsit Gibbons, so many others have been able to refine what they say and get their particular phrasings down. I thank you for being part of that, for listening, for caring, for watching these videos. But it's just, at a point, when are you going to get something new? Am I just going to be one of the next torchbearers, spending the next 20 years of my life rallying against this crap like my forebears? I've watched videos with, oh, fuck. What was her name? The woman who was the big deal atheist through like the 60s and 70s. I've watched stuff with her, and it's exactly the same arguments being brought up. It's insane. You have nothing new. It's all been torn apart. Oh, but the creationists and theists say that our stuff has been torn apart. We have shown where you've lied. So no, you haven't. Get something new or shut up. Let's continue.
The whole system needs to appear all at once, which sounds far more like intelligent design than random mutation. Let's shift our focus to the laws of nature. The universe operates under a strict set of laws. physics, chemistry, thermodynamics, and mathematics.
All of these things are descriptive of just how reality works. We divide certain aspects of how the universe works into different fields. Mathematics deals with a certain logic that's also practical. Physics deals with the nature of things being, so on and so forth.
These aren't loose guidelines. They're immovable truths. Gravity always pulls, never pushes. The speed of light is exactly 299,792,458 meters
Wow, that thing got tongue-tied as a mother.
per second.
Also, you want to know something funny is that the distance of the meter is defined as how far light travels in a particular time frame. Meter's been redefined a few times, which is kind of funny. So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah, light travels at the value c. I've been over how I hate people calling c the speed of light because that's not entirely accurate. Speed of light in a vacuum, sure. Traveling through a medium, that's a different story. Travels slightly slower through air. Definitely travels slower through water. But the value c is a constant. It's a maximum value for anything with a rest mass to move. Nothing with a rest mass can go further, and even then, massless stuff only goes at that speed. But that's just a property we observe. That's just a fact that we see. It just is what it is. It's a brute fact. You continually want to say that we can't have a brute fact of the very properties of the universe, that those all have to be, there should be a lawgiver, but your deity can be a brute fact. Because you get so pissed when we ask, well, where'd your God come from?
No variations, no sales, no exceptions.
Also, that's just fucking weird to have brought up, that kind of phrasing, but whatever.
Energy can't be created or destroyed. It can only change forms. These laws govern everything, yet they didn't arise from trial and error. Imagine walking into a new country and discovering a well-established...
It's always imagine with these people, too. You always have to, Ken Hovind loves to bring up imagine. It's like, when every single thing you have to explain starts with imagine and goes into an analogy that immediately involves something humans intrinsically created, it falls apart. I cannot stress this enough. I hope some theist out there happens to watch this and sees what I'm saying, hears what I'm saying, sees the point, and realizes these arguments are fucking stupid. Because they are. I'm getting a damn headache from this.
legal system. You'd assume someone wrote those laws, not that they randomly appeared.
Madeline Murray O'Hare, thank you. For some reason, I could remember Madeline, but all that happened is my brain wanted to immediately put the name as Madeline Albright. I forget who the hell that was. Secretary of State, okay. Former Secretary of State, I should say. My brain, it no works so well, no? S'mores Pop-Tarts, do it. Definitely do it. Taking a small break from this. Well, yeah, everyone was at me on that with the O'Hare. Thank you. Making videos is too hard. I find making videos slightly annoying from the sheer render times because I got a potato of a computer. Yep, Secretary of State. So that's part of why I do stuff live.
So why do we assume the laws that govern galaxies came from nothing?
They didn't. They're a concept we came up with to describe the properties of reality.
If your smartphone ran on perfect, bug-free software that never needed updates,
Again, with the artificial stuff. Can you come up with anything else? Anything that isn't, if this totally man-made object did something surprising, you would be like, wow, this is amazing.
you'd immediately suspect a genius created it. That's what the universe is like. Flawless code running perfectly from the start. Science
The universe isn't flawless, buddy. Although, at the same rate, one could look at it as it can't be flawed fundamentally because that's purely subjective. But hey, y'all want to talk so much about things being fine-tuned and life being perfect, universe being made for us. Yet we can only live on the skin, on some of the skin of this tiny little speck of nothingness orbiting a perfectly typical ass star in a perfectly normal ass galaxy, in a bland corner of the local group, nestled in between this supercluster and that supercluster. Because, fun fact, the Milky Way galaxy and its friends like Andromeda are actually on the fringes of a void. We live in a less populated area of the universe. That's pretty wild. Yeah, in a universe that, at the grand scale, kind of looks like the structure of a sponge. But yeah, everywhere else we be dead. All that space. And we live in this tiny fraction, and y'all want to claim that it's somehow, all fine-tuned for us. No, it's not, you fucking idiots. Universe isn't perfect, isn't fine-tuned for anything more than black holes and heat death. Nah.
Scientists like Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein didn't just marvel.
Good God. It's Isaac Einstein. I would joke that that's Albert Newton, but no, that's still Albert Einstein. But he really needs to catch up on some sleep.
At the laws of nature. They saw in them the logic and order of a grand designer. It's no stretch to imagine a divine mind writing the laws of reality with perfect precision. Now let's explore morality. Some people believe morality is
Okay, you just asserted, the claims of perfection and shit. It's like, nah, dog, nah.
a human invention, like the rules of monopoly.
Yeah, kind of is. Also, what kind of twisted ass Monopoly board is that? What the hell are those Uno card backs going? Why is it a rectangle? And what is the prison square in the middle? I said prison because I was thinking about the corners. Like, where's jail? Okay, hey, I got a question. When y'all play Monopoly, if any of you have, which I'm sure most of us have, okay, the jail square. Y'all put your piece, if you're just running through, on the outside of the block, right? With the picture of the dude holding on to the bars. And the parts that are in jail are inside of like the red area with the dude holding the bars. Like, we all do that, right? I just want to make sure. Because that makes sense. This is just visiting, and I think that's how that's supposed to work. Like, I'm not sure, but I think that's how it's supposed to work, and I just want to make sure of that.
But that presents a serious problem. If morality is made up, then nothing is truly right or wrong.
Or if it's objectively created by a deity, it's actually still subjective, and your deity can just make up whatever the hell they want, thus meaning morality means precisely fuck all.
It's all just opinion. We can all agree that things like murder or stealing are wrong. But if enough people decided otherwise, would those things suddenly become acceptable? That's not how morality works. Its structure and consistency suggest it isn't rooted in opinion.
Well, Otaku, you could just get AI voiceovers. This would work. Or you could do like a TMM. I think his name is the Masonic Maniac or something. But TMM, he does videos where he has the voiceover to him, but he plays with the video, has the text on the screen of what he's saying. You could just do the text on the screen thing, and that could be practicing editing. So, yeah, on that, Monopoly was supposed to be a game about how capitalism is bad. Yep. Otaku, that's why the Monopoly is a square sectioned off between in jail and just visiting. All right, thought so. It's been a while since I've seen a Monopoly board. I mean, I, I, I knew some people who thought it was weird because I've known a lot of just dumb people through my life. So that's part of why I ask.
But in something much deeper. Consider rules in
I didn't want to call them out, but then again, I ain't seen some of these people for a quarter of a century, so it doesn't really matter.
a school. They exist because someone made them. Likewise, if
Yes, because schools might have special conditions that don't apply elsewhere. Lots of places have special conditions, special considerations that don't apply in other areas. That isn't morality either. That's just a level of maintaining standards. Sometimes it's for safety. Like, you know how if someone's on oxygen, you don't smoke near them because everything burns in pure oxygen? And it'd be pretty bad if you lit Uncle Bob on fire? Yeah, that's a safety precaution. That rule isn't a moral rule, it's to prevent accidents. What are you, a child? We're only halfway through this video and I'm just like so over it.
Moral rules exist, there must be a moral rule maker.
No.
And that leads us to God.
No, it doesn't.
Without a higher authority, morality becomes chaos.
No, it clearly doesn't. And in fact, the records show that people who reject theology seem to be more moral on a whole than those who do have this get out of sin free card.
You could play chess without rules, but it would just be people throwing pieces and claiming they won. Yet morality doesn't work that way. It has rules.
Your God sure does.
It has boundaries. And it points to something greater than ourselves.
Yeah, the collective nature of society. That's where morality comes from, because we're social animals. It is not hard to understand, and this behavior is exhibited in other social animals. I want to think most great apes, elephants, dolphins. You see that shit in cats and dogs. Seems to be a side effect of being social. There's always derivations. But when it's just a societal thing, you don't really have excuses for derivating. When you try to think of your morality as something from religion, you can get away with a lot. Because it's one thing in a secular society to believe that you should do harm unto someone else. It's another thing when your God tells you to take out an entire ethnic group. Which, last I checked, he's done several times, according to your magic story. But what do I know?
Let's go even deeper, into consciousness. You've got a 3-pound lump of cells in your head that somehow produces emotions, memories, thoughts, and dreams. It's essentially a biological computer. But here's the kicker. Computers don't dream. They don't imagine. They don't fall in love or write poetry.
Yeah, which means your brain isn't a fucking computer.
Consciousness is more than just electricity flowing through neurons. It's awareness.
It's not electricity flowing through neurons either. It's various chemical reactions that, yes, are electron-based and require certain salt levels and all that jazz to happen properly because there's an electrical component, but it's a matter of chemical bonds.
Yes. And awareness is hard to explain using only physical matter. The argument from consciousness says, if we were just advanced meat robots, we'd process data without experience, like a search engine, not a human being. But you do feel. You experience life. You remember that embarrassing moment from 2013, and you wonder why mosquitoes exist. Consciousness is
God damn it, I was muted. Yeah, because we've got a bunch of neurons firing all the time. It's kind of constant noise.
Isn't just physical, it's personal. And many believe it comes from something that transcends physical matter, something eternal and intelligent, something that sounds a lot like God. Now comes the cosmological argument. Let's say you're at a party and someone gives
Oh, good lord. This truly is Thea's greatest hits. The worst fucking arguments for God ever.
you a slice of cake. You ask who made it and they say, no one. It just showed up. That's laughable. Everything we
Yes, because cakes are artificial, just like everything else you're going to list.
know, cakes, cars, coffee, has a cause. So does the universe.
Not necessarily.
Every effect must have a cause, and if you trace causes back far enough, you need something that started it all.
So, again, you're going to claim an uncaused cause, which means you defeat the purpose of your own argument by proposing that there could possibly be something that didn't need a cause, when it can be just as simple that the universe itself didn't need a cause in any way you think of, especially given that cause and effect require time, require entropy, require concepts of reality that I feel, and is my understanding, that they completely break down at the time of the beginning of the expansion. Thus, it's a moot point to propose such because you're working outside of the framework where that's even valid concepts.
The first domino, a necessary being that exists without being caused, a force powerful enough to create everything out of nothing. This first cause, which lies outside time and space, sounds an awful lot like God. And no, the universe didn't just poof into existence without help.
Um, Being very simplistic for a very brief moment, yeah, it fucking did.
If it had a beginning, it had a beginner. Let's talk
No.
about something
And one can argue that the universe didn't have a beginning per se. Reality, under the properties that we can define it, may have had a beginning insofar as there is a T0, but again, outside of that, things break down. But there is nothing to say that the singularity at Planck temperature that I hypothesize, my visualization, internal, you know, essence of what I think pre-Big Bang universe would have been like, it could trivially have been eternal. Which, ooh, you were talking about God, da da da. It's like, that's kind of moot, though. You'd have to prove that God exists. The math works on maybe not the singularity in of itself, because that's still kind of a debated thing in math and physics, but the idea of Big Bang cosmology, inflationary period, we know how the math works up to the point where it all breaks down. So, presuming what would be there before it breaks down, we at least have reason to actually think about what would be there, as opposed to your God concept, which is just one of many proposed magical explanations for reality that have all shown to be absolute garbage.
everyone can relate to. Belief in God across cultures. If one person sees a UFO, maybe they imagined it. If millions around the world across centuries report the same thing, maybe it's worth investigating. Almost every
Or maybe a lot of people in the past were, sadly, kind of dumb. And with socio-political structures being what they were at the time, you kind of went along with the herd, especially given that most people were completely fucking illiterate.
every civilization in history has believed in some form of God. Different names, different stories, but the same core idea. Ancient Egyptians, Vikings, Africans, Europeans, even isolated tribes believed in a higher power.
Hey, you know why? Because there's a concept called pareidolia. It's an odd little quirk, survival instinct, to where we notice faces in things, we want to attribute things in nature. Rustling in the bushes might be something trying to get us, might be nothing. We don't know, though. Better treat it like it is. there's kind of a defect in that that definitely was beneficial, but still kind of outdid its outdid its welcome. Outstayed its welcome is the word I'm looking for. Blah. Getting flustered here with the idiocy. And that seems to have morphed into us deciding that everything must have some sort of agency behind it rather than it just being what it is. And as humanity spread across the world, out of Africa, I need to remind you, yeah, that kind of just took root. Never really worked its way away. That's really all there is to that.
They didn't collaborate on a script. The belief simply appeared, again and again. This repeated pattern
Yes, different beliefs all around the world. And people only ever seem to believe, more often than not, they tend to believe what their parents believed and what their parents believed, and so on and so forth. It's almost as if it depends on where you're born and what cultures you're exposed to by virtue of where you're born.
suggests something more than coincidence. Studies show even people in crisis instinctively pray. It's like our brains come pre-installed with a call God button. And
No.
beyond survival, we crave meaning. Not just food or safety, but purpose. That craving may very well point to the reality of what we long for. God.
Or it's called people are fucking weird. Also, have you been able to the little God button? Everyone prays. Have have you, Mr. AI voice, ever actually tested against groups that have never been exposed to theological constructs? Because there's a little bit of conditioning going on there, usually a leftover from the childhood when people are taught these kinds of things. That those subtle instincts kind of kick in from time to time. You need a control group, people who have never been exposed to religion. See how they behave. Guarantee you, they're not going to do anything that resembles prayer.
Now we reach the limits of materialism. Materialists argue that love is just chemical reactions in the brain. But try explaining that to your mom after forgetting her birthday. Saying, "My love is just oxytocin," won't earn you a hug. Love, joy, beauty,
Why is it always that kind of reduction to just bullshit that no one would ever actually say? Is that the best you can do? Really? No one's gonna fucking say that. We care about the thoughts of others and we know what one means when they say that, when they talk about love in such capacities. We understand that emotion because that's what we're talking about. The root causes are kind of irrelevant because it's a commonality between us as, again, a social species. The science behind it has fuck all to do with anything. So you're wherever you're going with these claims of material limitations means fuck all.
these are more than chemicals doing a dance. They're experiences that feel real, because they are. You look at a
Yeah, just making shit up as they go along.
sunset and feel awe, not because atoms are arranged nicely, but because beauty speaks to something deeper. Something inside you that isn't made of atoms. If
No. Citation needed there, bucko. Again, we have odd proclivities. This seems to be common in a lot of animals, where we find certain shapes, certain patterns to be pleasant. Some of that is just ingrained as a survival instinct. Things such as, food looking nice when well presented. It's like, hey, food. I see green. I like that. I see red. I like that. Hey, there's some nice fruits and veggies there. Is that some meat? Oh, yeah. In fact, we prepare food subconsciously based on that. But then other things like sunsets and the like, there's a little quirk in us and it brings us joy. That seems like it would naturally progress through the species as we, develop. It's not hard concepts. You want to chalk everything up to magic. How does it keep doing that?
we are only matter, Why do we have experiences that transcend matter? The soul, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, it doesn't fit neatly into a test tube, but it exists, and it points to something beyond the material world. Finally, let's
No, because again, you're dealing with the oddness of consciousness, which again is pretty weird, especially brains trying to think about the brain thinking. But no aspects of it are supernatural. You want to attribute things. It's like the weakest you can get. It's like, "Oh, these feelings are supernatural." No, no, they're not. Come with something serious.
talk about prophecies. Imagine applying for a job where you need to fulfill three
And again, with the analogy of, how about this perfectly normal human thing in these odd conditions? Now we're going to compare that to the real world and nature. It all breaks down the moment you do this, bucko.
300 specific qualifications, many of which involve how others treat you, where you're born, and how you die. That's what Jesus fulfilled. The Old Testament
Except he didn't. There's fundamental flaws in there, as well as subtle ones. But people on the New Testament just assert that he did it. Okay, whoopity fucking do. That still doesn't mean a bit of it's actually true. That it all happened. Because the only source you have for anything is some Bronze Age goat herder's guide to the galaxy.
listed dozens of prophecies about the Messiah. Jesus checked off a shocking number of them, including being born in Bethlehem, being betrayed for 30 silver coins, and having people gamble for his clothing. You can't stage your birthplace or how soldiers divide your clothes. Even the destruction of cities was predicted in detail. The prophet
Yeah, I mean, like, what was it, Tyre, that, still exists? Yep, real good prediction there, buddy. Oh, hey, he's talking about it.
Ezekiel said Tyre would be flattened and its rubble tossed into the sea. Alexander the Great literally used the debris of Tyre to build a bridge into the sea. Babylon was prophesied to never be rebuilt. Despite Saddam Hussein's attempts, it remains ancient ruins. These fulfilled prophecies aren't lucky guesses. They're fingerprints of a divine scriptwriter, someone who knows how the story ends.
Prophecy's so fucking weak. So fucking weak. Remember that Jesus said he'd come back in his own disciples' lifetimes, that some of them will not have died by the time he returns, indicating that it was, a couple of decades at most, maybe, that he'd be gone. It's been 2,000 fucking years. He ain't coming back. Ironically, one of the most important prophecies clearly failed. But, I'm sure there's some idiot theist out there with an apologetic for that all of them use.
So whether it's the precision of the universe, the mystery of consciousness, the foundation of morality, or the fulfillment of ancient prophecies, the evidence stacks up like an overwhelming case in court.
No, it doesn't.
The conclusion? Maybe, just maybe, this wasn't all an accident. Maybe there is a creator who set it all in motion, who coded the laws, shaped our souls, and gave us the hunger to search for meaning. If
Or maybe you're dumb as hell.
you found this video fascinating and thought-provoking, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more mind-opening content, and check out our other videos for more deep dives into science, faith, and the mysteries of the universe.
So this channel is nothing but theologic crap. Okay. Let's see. There's this person who's been commenting on a few things. Let's see. AI is only implementing superficial statements. Wish you luck producing real content during a living. Let's see. Fine-tuning arguments, exercise absurdity. Well, this sucked. And yes, I know, I'm commenting, therefore helping it, but honestly, I want more people to see this garbage because it's straight garbage. Top tier, absolute, 100% unadulterated garbage. Alrighty. Nimrod coming in a little late. So yeah, That was that little quest for proof of God. That was complete fucking garbage. I feel like I wasted my time. That's an hour of my life I want back. But hey, the daily Guild Wars reset's about to come up, so I'll just get at that. Hate the AI voiceovers. They all sound so bad and can't say words normally. Tomato, Soviet cat, tomato too. I hate that I can't actually see those in restream, so I miss the use of my own emoji. Lame. So very lame. Well, that is the end of that. That's the end of this trio of Sunday Sinfest videos. We took a look at what Hovind uploaded. We looked at 2 Matt Powell videos, and we looked at whatever the hell that was. I think it's been a pretty productive weekend. That being said, I'm going to hop off here, fire up Guild Wars. If you're in the Discord, you know how to get a hold of me. I really need to start pushing my XMPP server because that would be an even better way to keep in touch because it ain't Discord. It's shit I run, I'm in control of. So yeah, um, let me know if y'all want in on that. Anyway, much love as always. Catch everyone next time. Oh yeah, don't do